Baby monkey changed the life of this homeless person. Introduction. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our exciting and heartwarming stories. We share incredible tales of hope, transformation, and the unexpected connections that change lives forever. Drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. We love hearing from our amazing community around the world. Now, let's dive into today's remarkable story about an unlikely friendship that transformed two lives in ways no one could have imagined. Marcus had been living under the overpass on Fletcher Avenue for 3 years when he heard the crying that would change everything. It was a Tuesday evening in late September, the kind of night when the temperature dropped just enough to remind him that winter was coming. He'd settled into his usual spot, a dry corner protected by concrete pillars where the wind couldn't reach, when he heard it. A sound that didn't belong to the usual symphony of traffic and city noise. It wasn't human, but it was desperate. High-pitched, continuous, almost like a human infant but not quite. The sound pulled at something deep inside him, a feeling he'd almost forgotten during his years on the streets. Following the cries, Marcus discovered a soggy cardboard box left carelessly near the dumpster behind the old grocery store. His hands shook as he lifted the flaps, expecting, what? He wasn't sure. Inside, wrapped in a dirty, torn towel that might have once been white, was a baby capuchin monkey, barely bigger than his weathered hand. The tiny creature's eyes were barely open, its fur matted and damp, its small body shivering violently in the cool evening air. Someone had abandoned it, left it to die like trash. Marcus knew that feeling. He looked around the empty alley, seeing no one. For a moment he considered his options. He had nothing to offer this animal. He could barely feed himself. The rational choice would be to call animal control, to let someone with resources handle it. But Marcus had learned long ago that the world didn't always work the way it should, and sometimes the system failed the most vulnerable. Looking into those tiny, frightened eyes, he made a decision that would alter the course of both their lives. He carefully lifted the fragile creature, tucking it gently inside his jacket against his chest, and whispered, "You're not alone anymore." He named her Pepper because of the way she sneezed when she first woke up warm against his chest. A tiny explosive sound that made him laugh for the first time in months. Marcus had nothing. No home, no family, no prospects, barely enough food for himself from the soup kitchen and the occasional panhandling. But he couldn't abandon Pepper. Something about her complete dependence awakened a purpose he thought he'd lost forever. Those first weeks were the hardest. Marcus researched at the public library, using their computers during his allowed hour, learning what baby capuchin monkeys needed. He discovered she required frequent feeding, warmth, and constant care. He spent his meager panhandling money on baby formula and bottles from the dollar store instead of food for himself. He fashioned a sling from an old t-shirt, keeping Pepper close to his body for warmth and security. She slept against his heartbeat, her tiny fingers gripping his shirt even in sleep. During the day, Pepper rode on Marcus's shoulder as he navigated the city streets. Her presence transformed his invisible existence. People who had walked past him for years without a glance suddenly stopped. Children pointed and giggled. Businesswomen in expensive shoes paused to ask about her. "Is that a real monkey?" they'd ask, and Marcus would nod, explaining how he'd found her abandoned. Some people gave him money, more than he'd ever received before, specifically for Pepper's care. Others brought fruit, which she loved, chittering with delight at grapes and apple slices. The monkey became his companion, his responsibility, his family. She learned to respond to her name, to play gently with his fingers, to nestle against his neck when she was tired or scared. In caring for something smaller and more vulnerable than himself, Marcus found himself caring about his own survival again. He ate regularly to keep his strength up for her. He stayed safer, avoiding the dangerous parts of town where Pepper might be harmed. He even began to hope again, though he didn't yet know for what. One crisp October morning, Marcus was sitting on his usual bench in Riverside Park, Pepper contentedly eating a banana on his lap, when a woman with a professional camera around her neck approached cautiously. She had kind eyes and graying hair pulled back in a ponytail, and she'd been watching them for several minutes from a respectful distance. "Excuse me," she said gently, not wanting to startle them. "My name is Elena Rodriguez. I'm a documentary filmmaker." Marcus tensed instinctively, protective of Pepper, but Elena held up her hands in a peaceful gesture. "I've been coming to this park for weeks now, and I've watched you with that little monkey. The way you care for her, it's remarkable. I've seen you go without food to make sure she eats. I've watched you protect her, nurture her, Love her despite having every reason to focus only on your own survival. She paused, then continued, "Your story, it's beautiful and important. Would you let me film it? A short documentary about you and Pepper, about love and compassion in unexpected places." Marcus studied her carefully, years of street wisdom making him cautious of anyone offering anything. "Why?" he asked simply. Elena sat down on the bench, maintaining a respectful distance. "Because people need to see this. We live in a world where it's easy to become cynical, to think everyone's only looking out for themselves. But you chose compassion when you had every reason to choose survival. That matters. Your story could inspire people, could remind them of what's possible when we choose kindness." Marcus looked down at Pepper, who chittered softly and grabbed his thumb with her tiny hand. He thought about the long nights, the hunger, the cold, and how this small creature had given him something to live for. Maybe sharing that could help someone else. "Okay," he agreed quietly. "But only if it helps Pepper too. She deserves better than what I can give her." Elena smiled warmly and nodded. "Then let's make sure she gets it." Elena spent 3 weeks filming Marcus and Pepper, documenting their daily routine with sensitivity and respect. She captured Marcus feeding Pepper her morning bottle in the soft light of dawn, the monkey's tiny hands wrapped around his calloused fingers. She filmed them at the soup kitchen, where staff had learned to save fruit scraps specifically for Pepper. She recorded the reactions of passers-by, the smiles, the donations, the moments of human connection that Pepper seemed to create effortlessly. The resulting short film, titled Marcus and Pepper, Love Has No Address, was a masterpiece of intimate storytelling. Elena edited it down to 15 minutes of raw emotion and genuine compassion, adding minimal narration and letting the images speak for themselves. She submitted it to several film festivals and shared it on social media, hoping it might gain some traction. What happened next exceeded anyone's expectations. Within 48 hours of posting, the film had been viewed 50,000 times. By the end of the week, it had reached 2 million. The algorithm picked it up, and suddenly Marcus and Pepper's story was everywhere. Shared by celebrities, featured on news programs, discussed on morning talk shows. Comments poured in by the thousands. "This is the most beautiful thing I've seen all year. I'm crying at my desk. This man has nothing but gives everything. Faith in humanity restored. That monkey saved him as much as he saved her." The attention was overwhelming. News crews showed up at the park looking for Marcus, who found the cameras and questions intimidating and strange. But what really mattered were the other responses. The substantive offers that started arriving through Elena, who had become Marcus's unofficial liaison with a world that suddenly wanted to help. The viral fame was uncomfortable, but Marcus endured it, hoping it might lead to something good for Pepper. He'd never wanted attention for himself, but if this spotlight could secure her future, he'd face any number of cameras. The first official offer came from Riverside Animal Sanctuary, a well-respected facility about 30 miles outside the city. Their director, Dr. Sarah Chin, contacted Elena after seeing the documentary. "We specialize in rescued primates," she explained in an email. "We can provide Pepper with proper veterinary care, appropriate nutrition, socialization with other Capuchins, and a safe, enriching environment. But we understand the bond she has with Marcus." The sanctuary proposed something unusual. Pepper would live at the facility with expert care, but Marcus could visit anytime during open hours and if he was interested, could volunteer at the sanctuary. "We believe that bond is important for her emotional well-being," Dr. Chin said when she met with Marcus in person. "You saved her life. You'll always be part of hers." Marcus felt relief and heartbreak simultaneously. He wanted what was best for Pepper, even if it meant sharing her. Then came the second offer. Tony Marchetti, owner of Marchetti's Italian Kitchen, a popular local restaurant, reached out personally. "I saw your story," he told Marcus over coffee that Elena arranged. "My brother was homeless for 2 years before he got back on his feet. I know it's not about being lazy or not wanting to work. Life just knocks some people down harder than others." Tony offered Marcus a job as a prep cook, starting immediately with training provided. "Anyone who cares that much about another living thing, who can be responsible for a helpless animal when he's got nothing himself, that's someone I want on my team. You've got character, Marcus. Let me help you build a future." Other offers followed. A local apartment complex offered reduced rent for the first year, a clothing store donated a professional wardrobe, a barbershop provided a free haircut and grooming. The community, moved by the story, wanted to help. For Marcus, it was almost too much to process. After years of being invisible, he was suddenly surrounded by kindness and opportunity. He accepted Tony's job offer and the sanctuary's proposal, understanding that these were the chances Pepper had given him, and he wasn't going to waste them. Marcus started at Marchetti's the following Monday, his hands shaking slightly as he tied on his apron for the first time in years. The kitchen was hot and loud and demanding, but Tony was patient, and the other staff members who'd all seen the documentary welcomed him warmly. He learned to prep vegetables, to follow recipes, to work as part of a team. The physical work was exhausting but satisfying in a way Marcus had forgotten. He was contributing, creating, being useful. With his first few paychecks, Marcus put down a deposit on a small studio apartment in a modest building near the bus line. It wasn't much, just one room with a kitchenette and a bathroom that actually worked, but it was his. He stood in the empty space that first night and actually cried, overwhelmed by the simple dignity of having a door he could lock, a bed that was his own, a place to call home. True to his promise, Marcus spent every free moment at Riverside Animal Sanctuary. The facility was beautiful. Spacious enclosures designed to mimic natural habitats, expert staff who genuinely cared about the animals, and several other Capuchin monkeys that Pepper could socialize with. Dr. Chin had been right about the bond. When Marcus visited, Pepper would recognize him instantly, leaping across her enclosure and into his arms, chittering excitedly and grooming his hair the way she had when she was tiny. He'd sit with her for hours, watching her play with the other monkeys, grateful she had the life she deserved. The sanctuary staff trained Marcus as a volunteer, teaching him about primate behavior, proper nutrition, and enrichment activities. He became particularly good at creating puzzle feeders that challenged the monkeys mentally. Working with the animals gave him purpose beyond his job at the restaurant. These creatures, like him, had been given second chances, and he wanted to make sure they thrived. About 6 months into his new life, Marcus was having coffee with Elena, who'd become a genuine friend, when he shared an idea that had been growing in his mind. "I want to help others," he said simply. "People and animals in situations like Pepper and I were in. I don't have much, but I have a story, and maybe that's worth something." Together with Elena's guidance and connections she'd made through the documentary's success, Marcus founded a non-profit organization called Second Chances for All. The mission was simple but powerful: to support both homeless individuals and rescue animals, recognizing that compassion and care could flow in both directions. The organization developed partnerships with animal shelters and homeless services, creating volunteer programs where people experiencing homelessness could work with rescue animals, providing care and companionship that benefited both. Marcus knew from experience how much purpose and dignity that connection could restore. The documentary's continued popularity helped with fundraising. Elena organized screening events where half the donations went to homeless services, shelters, job training programs, mental health support, and half went to animal rescue organizations. Marcus spoke at these events, sharing his story with raw honesty, never sugarcoating the difficulty of life on the streets but always emphasizing the transformative power of compassion and connection. "Pepper saved me," he told audiences, his voice stronger now, more confident. "She gave me a reason to keep going when I'd almost given up. She reminded me that I was capable of love and responsibility, that I mattered. Now I want to help others, people and animals, find their own reasons to keep going, their own second chances." Local businesses partnered with the nonprofit, offering job training and employment opportunities specifically for people transitioning out of homelessness. The restaurant where Marcus worked became a training site, with Tony hiring several individuals through the program. The model worked because it recognized human dignity and potential rather than just providing handouts. 5 years after finding Pepper in that cardboard box, Marcus stood before a crowd of 300 people at the nonprofit's annual fundraising gala, held in a hotel ballroom that would have seemed impossibly fancy to his younger self. He wore a suit donated by one of the organization's supporters, but more importantly, he wore confidence earned through years of hard work and purpose. On his shoulder, on special permission from the sanctuary and with Dr. Chin supervising nearby, sat Pepper, now a healthy, thriving adult Capuchin monkey who still recognized Marcus as family. The crowd quieted as Marcus approached the microphone, Pepper chittering softly and examining the room with curious, intelligent eyes. "5 years ago, I was homeless, hungry, and had almost given up hope," Marcus began, his voice steady and clear. "Then I found a dying baby monkey in a cardboard box and everything changed. People ask me all the time what transformed my life. They want to know if it was the documentary going viral, or the job offer, or the housing assistance, or the community support. And yes, all those things mattered tremendously." He paused, gently stroking Pepper's back. "But what really changed my life wasn't luck or charity or even kindness from others, though I'm deeply grateful for all of that. What changed everything was choosing love when I had nothing else to give. It was deciding that this tiny, helpless creature mattered more than my own comfort or convenience. That choice, to care for something beyond myself even in my darkest moment, that's what saved me. The audience was completely silent, hanging on his words. Pepper taught me that even when we think we have nothing, we still have the capacity for compassion. We still have the power to make a difference in another life. And when we exercise that power, when we choose kindness despite our circumstances, it transforms us. It reminds us of our own worth and potential. Marcus looked out at the crowd, seeing faces from all walks of life. Donors, volunteers, people who'd come through the program, staff from partner organizations. In the past 5 years, Second Chances for All has helped over 200 people transition out of homelessness and saved nearly 1,000 rescue animals. But more than those numbers, we've created connections. We've reminded people that they matter, that they're capable of more than they believed, that one act of compassion can ripple outward in ways we can't imagine. The audience rose in a standing ovation, applause filling the ballroom. Pepper chittered proudly as if she understood, and Marcus smiled, a genuine expression of joy that had been absent from his face during those hard years on the street. He was a man who'd found his home not in a building or a place, but in purpose and connection. A man who discovered that the smallest act of love could change everything, not just for the one being saved, but for the one doing the saving. And in that truth, he'd found not just survival but a life worth living.